Welcome to AFK Chat. We're back for I guess our first real episode. Our last one was our introduction, but this is when we're going to be getting into some of the news. And today we're going to be looking at the Xbox Developers Direct, James. And you had told me you watched it how many times? How many times have you watched this thing?
The other day I told you, I think 3 or 4. I have seen it about 10 times now.
How do you watch this 10 times? It's like it's
Because
just an intro. Or are you explain that to me?
In all fairness, I watch the Developer Direct, just the Developer Direct from the Xbox channel. Then I watched it on the IGN with Podcast Unlocked, and then they do their thing after. Then I watched it before, then the Kind of Funny XCast.
Oh, okay. So you didn't just watch the cast.
Then
over and
I
over
watched
again.
it with where there was some of the YouTubers that react during the show. So they're like commenting why it's going on.
So you're not just rewatching the plain content.
No.
Because that's like in my mind, I just see James like rewind, watch it over again, rewind, watch it over again. I'm like, how can you keep doing that? So you're watching other people's thoughts.
Yeah. Because I just want to hear what certain.
So I did not watch anybody else's thoughts. I only have mine. So I haven't looked at what anyone else has said or anything. And I think this is maybe like the first time I've actually took notes while watching to be like actually prepared to have something to say rather than just like having it in the background while I'm at work and being like, oh yeah, I watched it. And I'm like, I don't even remember that game. Like who is it? What studio? So anyway, we're going to be getting into that. Just some news around what we're playing right now. We'll probably be streaming some of it if we can get some co-streams working. I think we might be able to do that through some of the new software we've been working with. We might be able to get that done. But we're back to Escape from Tarkov.
I don't know
because it's the only game my computer will run at the moment. And the funny part about it is it was the game that started the problem.
Yeah,
all my crashes started in that game, and now all of a sudden it's the only one that'll run.
But
we're having fun.
It is interesting. We are. I mean, you're having fun. I'm getting frustrated
already.
I'm just not good at the game.
Well, we haven't played in a while.
That's true.
And I have. Well, we looked at it today. I have like 300 hours extra on you.
Yeah, and I think we also figured out that I am just better at sniping in games. I'm not like God's gift to Earth by any means, but when we play, if you can kind of run and gun and I can snipe and cover you, and we get into that rhythm, we are a pretty good duo. But if we both try to run and gun or we both try to snipe, it's just absolute disaster.
Yeah, and at the beginning right now, there's not a lot unlocked, like as far as
it is
long range weapons, and the way they changed a lot of it up to kind of, I think, force the close combat action of it. I kind of feel like they do. So if you haven't played in a while, and we're going to get into the direct, but like this is one of the hot games right now, I think, especially with these changes that they've made. They now have a special, I guess it's not special, but they have a level or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they call them, but they have a level now that you can go raid, that you can go into, that is only for levels 1 to 15 or 1 to 20.
Zero, right?
Ground zero. Yeah, called Ground Zero. It's like Streets. It's built off of the Streets raid, and it's very small. It's very condensed. It's 9 to 10 players max. Very new player friendly-esque.
Yeah.
As in, it's not huge. The extracts are pretty easy to find. They're always the same, kind of. It's like you're going north or you're going south. Like when you spawn in, you got to figure out which direction.
We have the directions yet, because we might be going east and west.
No, it's north and south. I'm positive it's north and south. I am 100% positive when we pull the compass out, it'll be north.
I'm not 100% certain,
but I am. But that's my direction in game. I know I'm thinking like the developers, and I know this was how they built that. But it doesn't add, and it adds in some of the newer features of the game too, like the smoke extract or the flare
Yeah.
extract, which we haven't done yet, but you have to launch a green flare to extract there. They also have the scav extract, which I don't think anyone's ever going to ever do. Like you're going to team up with a scav and both extract out of there. No, you're going to shoot them in the face and you're going to move on.
Yeah, I
Like
don't know
I don't
why they add
understand
that
that
in there because
extract.
you got to voice chat someone and convince each other to go. Like it just seems.
Well, I think if it was something that they did like with reputation, like like the scav rep that you have, and you got your scav rep high enough to where you can befriend a scav and then take them to the extract with you.
Oh yeah.
Rather than like in the game, like so you could take one of the AI scavs out and not wait for a player scav to do it.
Yeah.
So I think like that would be kind of cool. But again, they shut down a lot of the ammo in the beginning of the game, simplified that for I think beginner players. They gave them a map that allows you to play and learn the game. I think 15 levels is a good learning curve for the game because that's a lot of hours. It's a lot of hours to get to level 15. And you're pretty evenly geared. I don't think I've walked up against an opponent in there now that I've been like, oh my God, you just completely outgear me. And the fights have been long. We've put in some battles where you're plinking back and forth and it's not, you have time to heal. And then the sound, I think by far is much better. I don't think the proximity sound is very good yet. Like I can't tell how far somebody is. And that just might be me getting used to the way they reworked the headsets.
And it's probably hard with the headsets, right? Like you're not just trying to get proximity sound for the game. You have to get proximity sound specifically for each pair of headsets that you might wear or without the headset.
Yeah, and I feel like the couple times I've gone in without a headset, I had a better it felt more natural, but I don't like to go in without the headset because I feel like the headsets block so much ambient noise that it makes it worthwhile to have them on. So anyway, you can check that out. You'll probably see, I think James might be able to, I guarantee James will be able to, when we start recording, pull some shorts out of that. That will be great. Twice. Oh, I will tell you, I am proud of us. We've been gone a long time and we made it through 7 or 8 raids and neither one of us has killed each other yet.
That's probably
it's been close.
I have almost tried to blow your head off a couple times.
There's been a couple times where it's been close, but we haven't actually pulled the trigger. And the one time I didn't pull the trigger, it got me killed and then you killed because I had to question it for a second. But yeah, so moving right along, that's the games that we're playing. Not a lot of news. I don't think there was a lot that was groundbreaking, so we don't have a lot for the first segment to get you up to speed on anything that's going on. Because I think all the news that we cared about came out in the Xbox Developers Direct. So let's get into that. What were your overall feelings of the Direct? Like not in any game specifics, but like overall what you saw.
I liked it. I think that they absolutely nailed it. You know, they really went into they basically laid out exactly what they were going to do. And they did exactly that. Yes, there was one game surprise, which maybe it's a good thing, maybe they shouldn't do it. But they set an expectation. They met it exactly to what they said they were going to do. There was no letdown because you knew it was coming. And if those games weren't for you, it's okay. I mean, Aura is not my type of game. Those strategy style games is not for me. But for people that like that game was perfect for them. So I don't know what you know.
Yeah, so
I think they nailed it. I think it was perfect. I give it an A. I'd give the Developer Direct an A+.
I don't know if I'll go A+. I think I'll go like B-, B, maybe probably B+.
But why would you give it a B-?
Only because there's not a lot of dates. Like we don't know when they're coming. It's like March here, March that, 2024. There's only one game that had a specific date, and that kind of just scares me with like where the development's at. Are we actually going to get them? Are we going to see them this year? It just leaves real speculation. I was expecting more of here's Q1, here's Q2, here's Q3. We have a date for each one of these. And we didn't really get that. But the games that were in there, there's not a single one that I don't want to play. And the other thing that I really liked about it is the live service games. There were none. No live service games, which I am so happy about. We are actually going to get fully built, ready to go developer games. They're listening to us. They're listening to the world to say, I don't want your demo. I don't want your beta. I don't want your alpha. I want your finished product. And that just makes me so happy.
Now, Ender, I do want to throw out. I don't have any worry that these games are coming out in 2024, and the reason is they've done one developer direct. It was last year, and every game that was on that developer direct released in 2023. So,
but I do remember taking money from you,
correct,
on that they're going to release on the dates that you said they were. So, with them not having dates, means that you can slip a year.
This year. They're all coming this year.
I think anything that has a 2024 date on it could slip to next year.
I don't think. I think all of these are definitively coming out this year.
Having built many, many pieces of software with teams, when you give somebody a year-long date, it's because you are not confident you're going to hit that year. You have given someone a date of December 31st, 2024, and that's why you're saying we may or may not.
I think the goal.
We're gonna put another bet on it.
We can definitely put a bet.
All right, gentlemen's bet, $1. $1.
All four of these games,
and I want it signed. I need my signed dollar from winning last time, and then I'll have another one. It's a signed dollar bill that I mean,
I did buy you a bottle of rum. It's still wrapped up, sitting in front of me.
True, because you knew you couldn't ship alcohol easily across state lines. You'd think they'd have some way of doing it.
I mean, the good news is it's still aging for you.
That's fine. Yeah, it's going to be nice. And if I ever make it out to your neck of the woods. So let's get started with the first game. And that was from Obsidian Entertainment and Avowed. So what were your thoughts around Avowed? Fantasy, RPG, first person. What do you think about this? How did you like it?
This entire genre is for me. When it comes to television shows. When it comes to games, I don't know why. Like Skyrim. Skyrim is one of the greatest games of all time. I can't get into it. It's not for me. I've tried multiple times. I've tried in VR. I've tried the remake. I've tried on every platform you can think of. It just isn't for me. So with Obsidian, I think it's going to be a shorter game. I think it's going to be amazing focused storytelling like they always do. Outer Worlds.
Short game? You think it's going to be
short? Stuff. Shorter is meaning it's not going to be 100 plus hours. Something you could probably play through in 20 to 30 hours. So I think that is the perfect setting for them. The game does look a little bit stiff to me with some of the combat, but it looks fun. It looks cool.
So I agree with you on the combat, melee combat. The wand combat looked amazing.
Looks cool.
I mean, the dual wanding. Like that looked super cool. The sharpshooting looked very cool too. The animations of him pulling out web. So the combat system is very unique. So it's sharpshooting. So you have a shooter. You have your wand combat, so spell casting, and then you have your melee combat, which I think we saw a sword and shield or a wand and a sword.
You could do
where
wand
you could
and
freeze
sword,
somebody and then stab someone.
Yeah.
So I agree with you that the melee combat was stiff, but I think the other forms of combat looked very smooth. I'm not a huge fan of the art style. I thought that for a AAA game but it does kind of align with this Obsidian's art style, which I don't think I ever dove too far in, like Skyrim and even like Fallout Las Vegas or the Other World.
Yeah.
Like it's just not my style.
Skyrim was BGS, but Outer Worlds and Fallout Vegas was Obsidian. But the thing that is interesting is when they first revealed the game 3 or 4 years ago, the art style looked amazing and everyone loved it. It looked more realistic. Then they had to change it. I'm going to tell you why I think they changed it. They are still under the Xbox Studio company, which is now with Bethesda. So Obsidian and Bethesda are under the same umbrella now. There's a rumor a strong rumor that Oblivion remake is happening. And if you take Avowed, which is set in the Pillars of Eternity, but if you took Pillars of Eternity and turned it into a first-person game, it looks like Oblivion. So I think the art style change is to not, run into an issue where Xbox games is putting out where they're, you don't want them competing against each other. So I think
they kind of bring that up of like it's part of this world, like they wanted to be part of that world and that environment.
Well, it is. This game is part of Pillars of Eternity. They just gave it their own. Now, when they revealed the game, I think a year ago at the Xbox conference, it was not. This is nicer. They adjusted the art style a little bit. I think this is better, but I agree with you. But the other thing that scares me, and I'm going to be honest with you. So I know this game isn't for you, but I've really dove into Baldur's Gate 3, and the storytelling takes, just last week I was saying my favorite game series is Mass Effect because of the storytelling, and Baldur's Gate 3 takes it to a whole nother level. So what scares me with something like Avowed is, are they this RPG storytelling game? Are they just like with Starfield? It just looks dated. It's things are coming out that are better, that are doing what they're doing with their level of storytelling and just making it better.
Yeah.
Is Obsidian getting left behind too?
I mean, yes, and maybe not. I don't know, but I think it goes back to kind of what I was thinking in there as well is from the preview that we got. I'm still confused on like player progression. How's this going to work? What is it like? They showed me a lot of fancy combat and then some dialogue, and the dialogue made me think of like Mass Effect. Like you choose something, you make a choice, it's going to change the environment, change the world that you're going to do. So I think you're kind of right. Like, is this something that's that much new? Or are we just seeing sharpshooting with wands and a pretty world? Like, is that all we're getting? And it may be, but I'll give it a shot, mainly because it's on Game Pass.
Yeah,
fall of 2024. So here's the question that I'm concerned with, or not concerned, but the question that's going to be is, do you have to build such a spectacular game anymore now that you're just putting it on Game Pass and you don't have to have people go out and buy it? It's like, I already have it, so I might as well give it a try. So you're going to get those streams anyway. Like, I don't have to spend extra money to force you to go out and drop $70, $80 on a game now, where I can save some money, maybe launch more games for you to play, but not at the same quality.
No, I'm not worried about that anymore, and I'll tell you why. Is Game Pass is the bread and butter of the Xbox company. It is the future. A lot of these companies are going to try to hit this subscription service. I saw something the other day where it's I think GameRanks.
But you make your money on a subscription off of the people that don't use it.
Yes, but I still think that game subscriptions are the future. Now, the problem is, instead of just having Netflix and a handful, they're all trying to do it at the same time. There's only a handful of companies out there that have the money to withstand the first 2 or 3 years of it basically not doing good. I think Ubisoft is going to go.
I think there's a hurdle you have to get over too.
Xbox definitely can do it. Now, the reason I say they still got to keep games up to a quality is because Redfall
disaster
was awful, and people just trashed on it. I still
remember when we played that, the guy was just hovering. There's nothing you could do. Like, we
tried
to play that game. We really tried.
But that proves that for first party to put out a game that sucks that bad is going to start to kill the service. So you still have to have high end quality games. Not to mention,
but can you over? I agree with you.
I think that Xbox is going to go down a path where they will start. I'm almost certain within the next couple of years, you will start seeing games release within a couple of weeks, maybe even a couple of months on PlayStation consoles. You can play it on Game Pass on Xbox because they don't care about the console. They care about people that still want to use a console. They care enough about it to make sure that it's there. But they want Game Pass on TV, on a phone. I mean, the phone is the future.
Well, because
Gaming
they
on the phone is
want
the
you
future.
to buy the pass.
Correct.
So they want.
So if you don't want to buy the pass, you can play it on PlayStation for $70.
Yeah, but I think I get where you're going with it. I understand that, but I do think that you have a hurdle that you have to get over to, and I think I think we'll talk about this in another podcast because I don't want to take time from the rest of the games we have here. But there's the ownership issue. Like, I don't own the game, or I don't have the game, or if you take it away, I can never play the game again. So like, there's that issue that you're going to have to fight, which I think the movie world got there too. You still have the DVD release. So as long as they still give you the option, but like Ubisoft came out and said, like, we want people to get used to not owning games. Like, because we're not going to make a disc anymore. You're not going to have that option. You're only going to have digital to be able to do it. So that's a concerning thing. We can talk about that in another episode. So fall of 2024, we'll see then. We'll have to see when they give us an actual like time frame and put some hours in and see what
I think it'll be a fun enough game. I think you can expect a very, just like Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds is like your space game. It's not quite Starfield or something else, but it's a 20 to 30 hour experience with great dialogue, fun storytelling, decent story. I think it's a game that you will have fun in, if that genre is for you.
All right, moving along. Ninja Theory coming out with Hellblade 2 Sana's Saga. I think I said that right. Senua's Saga. I am intrigued by this game.
Did you play the first one?
I did not play the first one. It's one of those things where when I looked at the picture, I'm like, not really my kind of game. Like, I don't like the hellbound games that are normally like that, or like Doom-esque or stuff. I played them, but it's not my thing. Didn't really understand the concept, didn't pay any attention to it. But after watching this, I'm very interested in the audio that they're going to use in this game. I think the audio, the visuals are stunning. They were stunning in the first one. I remember that. And I know it won a bunch of awards.
It did, yeah.
The first one did as well.
I was actually at the Game Awards when the girl that portrays Senua won the best, award, whatever, the best motion
voiceover, motion capture. Yeah, because she does all of it. She does the motion.
Yeah, and she was just a dev on the team. They were just like, hey, do you want to do this? And
so this one is set in the Vikings, Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going after the people that killed her family, her brother, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But so it's the 10th century. And they came out and said, and this is again another thing that I really like about them, they did come out and say it's going to be a shorter narrative. It's not going to be this super long, in-depth game that you're going to have a super time sink in. It's going to be something you can sit down, play, enjoy, have a great experience, and move on to the next game. Like, I do love that these studios are starting to acknowledge that and make games this way that aren't, I don't have to play 900 hours to see the end of the game or to have a good time. I don't think you need that, especially in these storytelling games that are more, I think, movie-esque. This is going to be more like watching a movie and playing a game at the same time than like, Civilization. And we'll kind of get into a game like that they have. She has psychosis. And they actually hired a doctor to come in and help them around, like, what the voices would be doing, how she would act, the motions in there, and just the general portray of someone that has psychosis and is hearing voices. And the 3D spatial audio. And I didn't play the first game, and I know they had voices, but they did say that they were stuck with a frontal cone.
Yeah.
They couldn't completely surround it because spatial audio wasn't there. We didn't have that. So now I am super interested. And even even when they're going through it on the developers direct, I had my Apple iPod Maxes on, which have spatial audio, and I wasn't paying attention to it. I was doing something else at the same time, and it had me moving around. Like I was like, "Who's behind me?" And I was like, "Oh, it's the game!" Like, "Oh shit, that's gonna be interesting." Like that, I'm really interested in that. Along with just the general gameplay looks very different.
Now, I'll tell you why I'm excited about the game. First of all, I know you didn't play the first game. Remember the first game Ninja Theory released, Hellblade, kind of an indie studio at the time, esque, maybe a AA game. But it was a year exclusive on PlayStation. A lot of people forget that. Then it came to Xbox. Not short after that, Microsoft said, you know what, we're buying Ninja Theory. So they purchased Ninja Theory. That's why Hellblade 2 is exclusive to Xbox. So a lot of PlayStation fans very upset they don't get to play the next one. But it is built on what I liked about the game. The whole concept of the original game was to bring to light the battle and the fight that is psychosis. They built a game around this, disease, and they wanted people to truly understand. And you can hear and you can feel the passion when these developers talk about it. That part of the game is so important to them as far as making sure people understand the psychosis. And I believe it is the same doctor that helped them with the first game is helping with the second game. And like you said, adding the spatial audio. And for those, if you're like, oh, psychosis, they keep throwing that word. Psychosis is an abnormal condition of the mind that involves a loss of contact with reality. Now, I know full-on spatial audio was not implemented, but I have played probably about 80% of the first one. It got too real for me, honestly. It got to the point that I was struggling sleeping. It really kind of messed with me mentally. That some emotional side. I'm sure my own personal issues that I gotta deal with. But the game really started to mess with me. It kind of feels like a horror game a little bit too. So I stopped for a while and then I just never picked it back up. I meant to just take a short break to pull myself away from it. But I am very excited. And in the spatial audio you talked about, I just want to throw this in. Adding the spatial audio to the environmental sounds as well, changes the game.
Yeah,
like that completely. It's not just the voices.
Going back to kind of what you said of like how it got too real. I remember in one of the things that I wrote down as like a note here of like, I don't understand how the combat system's going to work. Like you don't see that through the game. Like there's no like click this button, hack and slash, things like that. But something that they said in there was like, we want you to feel like in the combat, you're just squeaking by.
Oh my God, that is how the first one was. I was literally just dripping sweat. I was like, oh my God, this is the most stressful game ever. But
that's exactly what they want. They want, and it's so you're dealing with this thing, there's psychosis and everything that you have, but this character is not a superhero where it's just driving through everything and going through. It's this girl on a journey that is too much for her, but she can't stop herself from going through it. She has to accomplish this. And that's where I think for me, just watching it, even when they're talking over it, you're just watching like the scenes of like, are you winning? Like how, I guess not. I guess you're just making it through. So I think that's a very unique way, because I always think games try to empower you.
Yeah.
Like you can just conquer them all.
And it's not quite Souls-like. I don't want to scare people away. It's not like Souls or Elden Ring where you're just get destroyed 5,000 times and go back. No, they really do find this fine line of it's not overly complicated, but you just can't go in and wipe an enemy.
No. And I think
every encounter is stressful.
But I think it's more like realistic. Like if I'm going into a fight, it's gonna be drag out. It's gonna hurt. Like you don't go in to watch, like a great example is like you've been watching Reacher and like you've seen the show. So like whenever Reacher gets into a fight, it's like he just destroys them. Like nothing else happens. That's not what it's like. It hurts. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get beat, and she does. But she has to get up and keep moving on. So definitely excited about it. The only game with a date. And it's coming up May 21st.
I mean, you know what's crazy? Everyone seems like, oh, they announced the game. It's ready to go. No, they did. Listen, Hellblade was announced as the opening game when the Xbox Series X was announced at
Oh,
the Game Awards. Yeah. Like, this game has been in development for so long. So I was a little disappointed to hear the 8 hours, and the fact that it's $49.99 made a little pause for me, except for the fact that maybe they're just like, hey, we understand games get out, everyone thinks this $70 game needs to be 100 hours long or more, or it wasn't worth your money. People still flipping out. I can't believe Starfield was $70. And the people that complain about it, if you look on their Steam records, they got 300 hours into the game. You paid $70, got 300 hours of it. If it sucked that bad, there's no way you paid $300 just to get content to make YouTube videos.
I'm not gonna lie. I paid. I mean,
play 300 hours.
I paid $110 for Tarkov, and I got 600 hours into the game.
Yeah, and there are things you don't like about it, but you don't. Yeah. So I think they're just realizing that, hey, if we're gonna make an 8-hour experience, $49.99 is probably the right price if you're gonna pay for it. It's probably going to be $39.99 if you have a Game Pass subscription. You want to actually own the game. But day and date on Game Pass. So
but I think we have to get out of that. I think we as the gaming community needs to get out of that mentality of and that's what I said in the beginning. Like, it's not going to be a time sink for me. It's an
I think this game is perfect. I'm ready to have a game. I'm ready to have a game that I can sit down. I think this game is made to sit down and be played within 1 to 2 playthroughs.
Yeah, because it's like me watching a TV series.
Yeah,
like that's what I want. And if if it embraces me, it brings me in, and it entertains me, I don't care what it costs. It's like, what do you think a movie ticket would cost if it was an 8-hour movie you had to sit through?
Yeah, and you know who will play this? Dr. Disrespect will play this game. And you know what he's probably excited about? That is 1 day of him streaming.
Yeah.
He will play the game from start to finish, and that will be 1 day, and he'll make, tons of content and a ridiculous amount of stuff off that 1 day. But he'll be able to play through this in 1 day, or he'll just break it down in 2 sessions and play where he's playing Call of Duty for half the day and this for half the day. Yeah. So he splits his audience.
I see him doing that because that's kind of what he did with The Last of Us, but it's a much more longer game.
It's a longer game, yeah. But the potential for one of these guys to sit down and play through it in one of their days, I think adds a lot of intrigue.
But I just think for in general, being able to like complete a game in a couple of weeks, with a small amount of time you get to play as a busy person. Like, I may only get 30 minutes here, an hour there. Like, I can actually get through the story. Or through that, but I'm hoping, like you said, play it at night, get 3 days max. I'm hoping to get through it, but I really want to play it. That's May 31st, Game Pass. We'll see if it does not that date. Not surprised, but I'd rather you complete the game than give me a piece of crap that's not done. So I'm okay with that. All right. So then we got the surprise game. And it did not hit any of the rumors. I don't think any rumor out there thought this game was going to be the one that was going to be the surprise game at Xbox Developer Direct. So it was Square Enix, The Visions of Mana. I know nothing about this. Didn't know the series.
I know the series a little bit.
I knew it was a Final Fantasy thing. I didn't know there was 18 games already.
Oh yeah, no, they're all over.
And you know what? All I have to say, best looking combat system that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
holy crap! That flying around, spell casting, attacking. I don't care that the anime art style, not my huge fan. This might be the first one that I'm just going to pick up and play because the combat looked fun as crap.
It's a very popular series and never really been my thing. And to me, the most exciting part about this isn't so much the game. So for me, I don't have a lot to say about this game, but the most exciting part of it is just continuing to grow that relationship that Microsoft needs to over in the Asian market, Japanese market. I think that's very important for the brand.
PlayStation exclusive until now.
And this is one of those franchises that bringing it over to Xbox it strengthens the Xbox brand in areas that's not.
And this is not an indie studio. This is a big studio.
Yeah, Square Enix is done a lot of stuff, all the Final Fantasy games and stuff like that. So that's why I think this is important. There are political moves behind the scenes where, Square Enix is going to dabble a little bit. If something like this takes off with a larger audience, I think that can strengthen the Xbox brand to the point that maybe we don't miss out on future Final Fantasy games. So I think that's the most important part for me.
Yeah, so I don't have much to say. Like I said, I don't know the series. I do know that they really dove into the monster creation. Like this one guy just creates monsters all the time, and they looked amazing. Like I can see my son and my daughter having a blast with this game, as well, because it doesn't look like it's going to be overly complicated for them to understand the style and the combat. I mean, they're playing Zelda now, so I assume they can play this at this point. No Game Pass, third-party game. That's fine. Like, let's strengthen those relationships. Let's get that started first, see what we can do from there. And it's a summer of 2024. This is kind of where I was like, I actually expected the surprise game to be not this big, but also be the one they say is out today. Like I was expecting to have that, and just spoiler alert, none of them are out right now. All of these games are coming. I was expecting to have a game that was going to hit will be in Game Pass tomorrow, and we didn't get that. And I was expecting this surprise game to be that. And that
Hi-Fi Rush is what they did last year.
Yeah,
they shadow launched it.
One.
So,
which Hi-Fi Rush World could have done without. But anyway, it won some awards.
It won some awards. I think it was a great game. I think for what it was and that niche, I think it was perfect for what it was.
I'll give you that for the niche. Yep. So what was the next game, James? What do we have next?
Is this the Aura game?
Yep, Aura from Oxide.
Listen, this is. I got nothing.
This made me think
because you like these kind of games.
I don't. This is not. I don't play these games. Like this is not one of the games that I play. I am not a big strategy game. The last strategy game I played was the original StarCraft. Like that's how long ago it was I played one of these things. This really made me think of.
Isn't Farming Simulator a strategy game?
No, it's not. It's a simulation. Not strategy, simulation. Don't hate on Farming Simulator, okay? You're playing it secretly, and it's just not showing up because you're hiding yourself.
No,
don't make me. I'm gonna bring your brother on this show, and
he can talk to you for hours.
Yeah, I know, and we'll have our own special. They start talking about 2025. We already got some news on 2025 Farming Simulator, but anyway, that's not part of this news, James.
Listen, I think Aura is perfect for that. It fills a niche. It's another niche game. I think you need them. You don't want to like have a platform that doesn't bring people in to play this. I imagine a lot more people will probably play on PC.
Well, so this made me think of Zach right away. This is a game for Zach, one of our friends. Like he loves Civilization. He loves all of these games. And I think for the things that they talked about, I think they're making those games better. The one thing that stood out to me that actually I might try it is the one thing I hated about was multiplayer. And the multiplayer in these games sucks so much because it was always turn by turn. You make a turn, then you get on your phone, you wait 9.5 hours for the other person to make their turn because they have to think through all the strategy and it takes a while.
Yeah.
This game is going to be simultaneous turn-based. So what I like about that is it's actually more engaging because while you're deciding your strategy, they're deciding their strategy, and you don't know until they make the change of what happened. So you could have really screwed yourself or not, and that's more like the Battlefield would be. And I think that is what's really cool. I also think what was super in-depth is that they didn't make all the leaders military leaders. And you win the game by actually doing this thing called like the prestige system that they have, and you build your prestige. So if you are a scholarly leader, and scientific, writing, poetry, art, science, those are the things you want. You can build your community, your world around that. Or if you want to be a military leader, you can build it around that. And you still have the same opportunity to win the game by building prestige and being the best leader possible. Not necessarily if you conquer all of the different lands. Now, if you're a military leader, you're going to need to conquer stuff. But if you're not, it's about your, they call them triumphs. So like building the pyramids, the Sphinx, doing crazy things like that, statues. It takes a while to build them, but you get a lot of renown and prestige through doing all of it. This is a fall of 2024 Game Pass game. So again, if you have Game Pass, you might as well give it a shot. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I'll play the multiplayer with you just to dabble and kind of understand how it works, but again, just not for me.
But another thing I do like is I skipped over, but they have a thing called the living world. So what you don't normally see in these strategy games is like you build something and all of a sudden it pops up. Here, you're actually going to see the world morph with your decisions. You're going to see like things start to grow and the way it looks. It's just very visually stunning where normally when you play like Civilization, I'm just tired of reading an hour into the game. Like I just don't want to read anymore. Can you like show me what happens? Can I see it? And they kind of took that into play here. But these are games people play, man. I mean, you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of hours that they're going to put into this.
Yeah.
I will say, though, I did say in the beginning that there is no live service games. This is the one game that they did say there was more content coming. But with how long this game is going to be out for, like they don't just make a Civilization every year. It takes a while. It makes sense that they're going to have some updates coming in the game that aren't going to be in the full release. So I do understand that. But as long as the game is full and complete and I can enjoy it and I'm not getting
they're just going to add more stuff
content.
Like so you have different battlefields and stuff to play on, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So I'm fine with that, but since the game's full. But it was the only game that they did say there was content coming. It wasn't everything that was going to be there when you launched the game. Cool. All right. So that's it. So then we're at the grand finale. Are you excited about this one?
Listen, I'm pumped. Okay.
I could just see you sitting there like you're just trying to contain yourself in your seat.
I've just wanted
You're just trying to so hard. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've had one.
Is back. Troy Baker doing the voice. We found out Machine Games is making the game. I think it's perfect. So here was my big fear.
Indiana Jones.
I didn't want it
and the Great Circle.
This is okay. A couple things that piss me the fuck off, Ender. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Here we go. Let's get down and dirty, James. Come on.
Fans going, oh great, Xbox is going to make an Indiana Jones game. It's just a copy of Uncharted, which is just a copy of Tomb Raider. Fuck off, because both of those games are
copies of Indiana
Jones. So my fear was, though, that they were going to make this third person. It would just kind of play the same, just Uncharted skinned as Indiana Jones. And it just is what it is. But that is not what they did. They went first person, puts you in, but they also have the first to third person, depending if you're climbing something, the camera backs out occasionally. You get that silhouette. I think Troy Baker nails the voice. I mean, man, that guy is so good with voice acting. I think he deserves so much credit. But he absolutely nailed the voice. I think they nailed the image. I don't know if there's ever been a first person game where a whip is your main thing. That was another thing I was worried about. He was going to be machine gunning everywhere and get all kinds of
So yeah, the whip is super interesting. Like, and it's it's the iconic piece of indie. Like, you can't have an Indiana Jones game without two things: the whip and the hat. And they nailed it. They got the both. The thing I'm concerned with, and I have all of your excitement there. I love Indiana Jones. Watch them all. Even the new ones were good. Like, shut up, people. The new ones were good, too. It's Indiana Jones. It's always awesome. Yeah, Harrison Ford's not as athletic as he was. It's been 40 years. Give him a break. All right? Wait until you're that age trying to do the stuff that he was doing in that. It's not going to look that good.
It cracks me up when people are like, the new ones aren't as good because it just doesn't seem realistic. If you come to me and try to convince me that things that happened in the Temple of Doom were real, like if that, imagine if Raiders of the Lost Ark was the only thing that ever existed, and then today Temple of Doom came out, would people love it or hate it? They'd hate it.
Love it. They would
No,
love
they'd
it.
hate it. They'd hate it
Why?
the same way that they hate the new ones. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I can't think past of like I don't give a shit what the rest of the world is. It's Indiana Jones. It's
I
awesome.
love them. I think that they're great.
I mean, who doesn't want that job and want to do what he's doing? Like it's fucking phenomenal.
But I think this is it's called the Great Circle, right?
Yeah, it's called the Great Circle. Now
it's set between Raiders
between the two of them.
Yeah,
and I'm telling you, like this. Okay, I have. This is why Starfield sucks. Because your dude that was working on Starfield was actually only worried about Indiana Jones because he wrote it. He did everything about it. No one gave a shit about Starfield halfway through.
Todd Howard, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is why Starfield was a flop.
And he picked Machine Games to do it. It makes sense.
It's his baby.
It's his baby. The story, I think, is going to be fun. I don't need it to be the greatest story of all time. I just need it to be fun. I just want the game to be fun.
First person was a great choice. I'm glad they didn't do it as a third person. I think first person immerses you in the game. You live the game as Indy. That's what they wanted you to be. Concern that I have watching, if you go and watch it back, and I don't know where they're at in development of what we saw. Because I don't think we got a date on this game. I'm not sure. I didn't write it down. I'm not sure what it was. I knew 2024. So we got 2024 date. So I'm not sure like where they're cut off. Like
it just says 24. It doesn't say
2024. So I don't know if it's an alpha build, like where you're at. But
and some of that build could be 6 months old already, right?
It's true. 100%. It could be. But you watch with the whip, he cracks the whip. It's at the guy's head, but he trips him. Like if you watch it back, like the whip never actually touches the character. So that's where I'm like, okay, I'll give you a break. It's a developer's direct. I don't know when you created that. Like it could be something that you're working through. It's just the only thing you had to show at the time. But that's where my concern lies. Is this going to be a game? Because the first cutscene of Indy, his head in the sand, the bad guy talking to him.
So here's my
so cool.
So here's my thought. Did this when you watched the dev direct and they showed that cutscene and you see Indy? Okay, so he's on the side, he's in that hole, and they start to show his face, but his hand is blocking it. Because I hadn't seen any images, so I did
not think it was going to be Harrison Ford.
There was a split second that I thought that they would imitate Harrison's voice, but never show you his full face. But within wonderful. 2 seconds later, they showed the full face, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Great. Just like him. But here's my concern: it's a game of cutscenes that are more impressive than the gameplay. I think you could get into that realm where they put so much time. Now, they're telling me when you're flying in the plane, shooting, that's all gameplay. It looks amazing. They're telling you that this is all of those things, but is this a game of cutscenes?
But the problem with the combat is I want to see more combat, like a continuous combat scene, because they would show like him shooting someone, then it would clip to someone. It was just a bunch of bouncing around and clipping. Yeah. So I do understand a little bit of worry there. I'm hoping that they nailed it. One thing that I don't have a problem with, and I know it's Machine Games versus Starfield. Starfield's combat was great. Wolfenstein combat is great. So you got to imagine Todd Howard coming from that, Machine Games having all the experience with the Wolfenstein games, and the combat is fun. That is what sells. That is what makes those games. The storytelling is interesting, and the combat is fun. So I imagine the combat should be okay.
But if they nail it, and I'm going to say it again because it's the game that I always say, if they nail it like The Last of Us did, where you don't notice you're going in and out of the cutscenes, like you never notice that they're there. It's just a continuous play, and you're just like, oh, I'm playing again. Oh, I'm not. Like, I'm on board. I just think when you get to these movie games, sometimes you put so much into the cutscenes to make it pretty and beautiful. You can't actually do what you want to do in a game fashion. Like you have to make it a cutscene. An example of that would be like World of Warcraft is a great example. Like you can't do the amazing, like you have your cinematics for World of Warcraft, and then you have the game. They look nothing alike.
Yeah. Now,
like nowhere near it. But this, I don't think you're going to run into it. I just say my concern that brought me up with the game was that cutscene was so damn good. Are they just making a bunch of those, piecing it together, and you solve a puzzle in between cutscenes? You attack a guy every once in a while between cutscenes. I don't think so, but that would be my only concern that we have there.
Okay, now I have a question for you. I want to jump in on something here.
There's one Easter egg they dropped in there too, if you're a true fan.
Here's something that I'm curious your thoughts on. Batman Rocksteady changed the game when it comes to making superhero movie style games. Of course, Insomniac with Spider-Man, both games, all three games actually, the Miles Morales one, phenomenal. You got your fanboys back and forth that just hate to hate. But are we at a point now where licensed games have to be good? Does this have to nail it? Does this need to be an 8 or better? Or do you risk just wasting another licensed IP? Like, this is as iconic as something like Spider-Man, Batman. Like, think about it. The Gotham game came out horrible. No one likes it. Suicide Squad getting ready to come out. No one's excited about it. Even if they turn out to be a little bit fun, people lose interest because it isn't at a level that these other dev teams have set the standard. I mean, I'd be terrified to be a PlayStation fan looking forward to this Wolverine game after that leak that just came out because it didn't look that fun. It doesn't. No. I mean, I know that was very, very early, but it doesn't look that interesting. So, are you at a point that this game needs to be 8 or better, or it's a failure?
I think with the
especially
level,
with Todd Howard's name.
Yeah, I think Todd Howard's name being on it. Yes. If it was just another studio creating an Indiana Jones game that didn't have the power behind it, the studio behind it, it wasn't Lucasfilms, it wasn't all Disney. Like, you think about everything that's behind this, it has to come out and be, if we're not talking about this as game of the year context of 2024, I honestly think it flops.
Like, it might not win, but it's got to be in the conversation. It may not win,
but I think if it comes out early enough, because we just have a 2024 date. So it may be too late in the year to be in the 2024 voting, it has to come out at a certain time. But if it is not in the conversation of game of the year, the power, the money, the studio, and the names behind this game failed.
So it's got to be just like Spider-Man. Spider-Man would win game of the year, but it's got to be as good as Spider-Man.
Got to be contention. It has to be a runner in contention because you never know what's going to come out. Like, you don't know when a Baldur's Gate's going to come out. You don't know when some of these games that are just mind-blowingly good.
I mean, in a perfect world for Xbox, correct me if I'm wrong, Ender, in a perfect world for Xbox in 2024, both, with not having any games on the Game of the Year nominee list last year from Xbox Studios.
Yeah.
In a perfect world in 2024.
Well, this whole list is on there.
Yeah. At least two of them, Hellblade and Indiana Jones, I think both need to be in the conversation. And if they do that, I think Xbox finally returns to form that sets a powerful future, and it puts Sony on notice, because right now Sony has 0 first-party games coming out in 2024. They've bought a lot of third-party stuff to make exclusive, but they got nothing.
Looking at the list that we have right now, those are the two games that have to be in. I mean, Hellblade 2 is going to win awards. It's going to win awards. This Indiana Jones thing will win awards.
We're talking Game of the Year award.
But it has to be Game of the Year. Like, these two have to be on the ballot for Game of the Year.
Because, and the other thing, bring back to your point at the beginning of this episode, is there a thing that just because since it's going to be on Game Pass, do we need to make high-end games? And I think if these two aren't considered great games, between 8, I think 9 and above, honestly, both of them, I think that conversation leans more into people thinking, oh, well, because they have Game Pass, they don't care about making quality games.
I think we're going to find out. I mean, we've only seen a little bit. We don't know what it's going to be like at the end. And I mean, we'll know really fast if they launch, May 21st. We'll know in the beginning. Like, we'll know quickly. But I also look at these two games being passion projects for the studios. Passion projects normally don't fail. and they will push the dates back. They will make it the best that they can, and I'm okay with that. Be upfront and honest on why you're doing it. I want you to have the best game possible. I want your hard-earned dollar in a ridiculously expensive economy right now to be worth it and for you to have entertainment, and we're going to drive for that. I'm all for it. Like, I think 2024 is going to be a good year for Xbox, a good year for these games. Who knows what else is coming out as we go through the list of things, but that was the Developers Direct, Xbox Developers Direct. Those were the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games that we had shown. So it was 4 plus something, a little extra there. Yeah, I don't think there's anything left to say. We'll see as they come out. My name's Ender. The guy over there is James. We are AFK Chat. You can find us at YouTube. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on TikTok. You can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And I think you can also find us on the X Twitter.
We're trying to be a little all over the place.
Yeah, we're out there. We do have a dedicated shorts, and our long form content will be on 2 separate YouTube channels that you can find us out there. But I think the best way to listen to these podcasts would be through Apple Podcasts or Spotify, whichever one that you choose to be on. Listen to your car. Get up to date news with Ender and James. Thank you very much. Good night.